Welcome everyone to our first edition of Worx Sessions. In the past, Quiltworx patterns have been a challenge to present in an online workshop as they require detailed instructions and take considerable time to make. To address these challenges, Quiltworx has created Worx Sessions. Worx Sessions are designed to present you one element of a quilt project at a time. You can focus on making all of the units that work with this video before moving on to the next. The first quilt we plan to teach you is called Amethyst. Amethyst includes 48 diamond units to create an exploding star quilt top measuring 91 inches square. To create the quilt you see here, we have used 3 different diamond units called the Moon Star, the Woven Star, and the Razor Star. Video instructions will be presented to you in 3 separate Worx sessions, the first one airing today, and the others coming October 20th and November 17th, in the order presented previously. If you have not already done so, we encourage you to purchase your pattern on our website or at your favorite quilt shop. On the pattern page on our website, you can find corrections if needed, a list of other tutorials and links to videos associated with this project to help you get started, kitting information for finding your fabrics. You can see samples created by others, and you can also find a link to the pattern on Quiltster, where you can try your hand at creating your own unique colorway. Check out the link under Techniques for pre-class preparations. We will help you find a kit, collect tools, and prepare for the class so you can begin cutting and sewing as you work along with Judy. Also, don't forget to follow the Quiltworx Support Network on Facebook or join our event page on the Quiltworx.com Facebook page so you can learn where to purchase kits, participate in shop-sponsored events, network with others making the quilt, see present and past Facebook Live videos, and get the most out of your Amethyst creation adventure. On the Quiltworx website and the pattern page, you can also find links to digitized quilting designs for when your pattern is complete, or replacement papers so that you can make a second sample. If you are interested in creating your own colorway, be sure to follow the link on the pattern page that takes you to Quiltster. Quiltster is a subscription-based quilting program that pairs commercially available patterns with commercially available fabrics across the fabric industry. With a present inventory of fabrics from over 20 major fabric companies and over 40,000 SKUs, patterns by 6 designers, and over 130 designs, this tool is a quilter's planning must-have, and we want to show you why. A separate video is also available on the website that takes you through a tutorial on how to color your amethyst design in Quiltster. The basic steps are to log into your dashboard and select Create New Project. Then find the Queen Star Mixer pattern in the list of projects and choose the template called Amethyst Blank Template. If you are interested in adding a border to make your quilt 100 by 100 inches, be sure to select the appropriate template for that instead. Click on the blocks in the quilt, then select your favorite fabric collection and begin adding fabrics. When you are finished, you will not only have an image of your quilt, but also create yardage information and get your initial strip cutting instructions that are required for you to prepare for class. Your amethyst pattern includes a variety of booklets. The Amethyst booklet is specific to the project you will be making and includes information on how to use the other booklets in this package. It is also covered in more detail in the pre-class preparation video. The Queen Star Mixer is the general introduction booklet and assembly instructions for this 91-inch quilt. We encourage you to spend time reviewing these 2 booklets before you begin cutting and sewing your fabrics. Next, you will find booklets that include instructions and foundation papers for each of the techniques in this quilt. The booklets are called Moon Star, you should have 3, Woven Star, you should have 2, and Razor Star, and you should have 1. There is also a booklet called Blank Background Queen. Instructions for this booklet will be covered as part of the 3rd video in this Worx Sessions series. If you are interested in replacing this booklet for a more intricate background option that includes additional paper piecing units, there is one available and listed on our website by clicking the Buy Now button called Spiked Ring Background Queen. It must be purchased separately. Although the videos in this Worx Session series do not cover this option, you will learn all the skills you need to make it on your own. You might also check with one of the sponsoring quilt shops to find out if they have additional workshops to help you through this process. A border option to expand the quilt to 100 inches square is also available for separate purchase, but it is not included in the tutorial videos. Again, you will learn what you need in the videos available to complete these units and will simply need to purchase the border package on the website if desired. Your Quiltster Mixer chapter includes the information to complete assembly for either size quilt. The pre-class preparation video also outlines the list of tools you will need to make this quilt. An overview of tools you might not have if you are new to paper piecing, but are essential to making this quilt are shown here. Also, don't forget your basic sewing tools and also organization tools such as tape, sticky labels, gallon-sized storage bags, paper clips, binders, and washable marking pens. As we prepare to begin, please note that Judy is making a second colorway of this quilt to that which is on the cover sheet, as we are out of the fabric that was used for the original design. The version she is creating is shown here, and a kitting sheet for this option is included on the Amethyst pattern page on the Quiltworx.com website. While the fabric she is choosing to work with may be different than yours, the unit names, template names, fabric names, and instructions for this quilt are not. It is important that you set up your unit charts for the fabrics you are using to make following along a snap. She will help you with this step in today's tutorial. Today's workshop will focus on the Moonstar block. Your pattern includes 3 Moonstar booklets, and as part of your pre-class instructions, you should have created 2 packages of fabrics. One package should go with Moonstar Group A, Round A. In this chapter, you will be making 8 blocks, 4 with one colorway and 4 with another. This is the bag you will be using to work along with Judy in your first work session this afternoon. You will need 1 booklet of papers and instructions at this time. Set the other 2 booklets aside, along with the package of fabrics that go with Moonstar Group A, Round C for now. We will explain what to do with these booklets at the end of the video. Now it is time to join Judy and begin class.
My name is Judy Niemeyer, and today I am going to teach you how to do the first block of a series of 3 blocks from a pattern called Amethyst. And we're going to do 3 different videos. What my video is going to do is teach you how to cut out and organize your first booklet and the block that we are using today is called Moonstar, right here. Okay? So the first thing that I want to show you is we've already cut out the fabric into strips, and the way we did that is we used a program called Quiltster. And in Quiltster, it actually shows you when you print out the pieces for Quiltster, just for the block that we're showing, it's going to give you cutting instructions and tell you exactly how many strips to cut and what the size of each strip is. And it has a number there that tells you how to label your pieces. So when I come in here, I'm going to move in these over and show you that we have already pre-cut everything for our quilt. So for AC1, it said we had to have 1 strip that's 8.5 inches. AC2, we're cutting 2 strips. AC3, we're cutting 1 strip. AC4, and so on. Okay, so everything's already in the order in which I'm going to cut these pieces apart. The next thing that I want to show you is in your instructions. When you start with your instructions, when you open this up, you're going to get a set of foundation papers, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. Actually, I don't want that one. Inside your instructions, you're going to get your foundation papers, and inside the foundation papers, you're also going to get some template pieces. And the first thing we have to do is cut out all these template pieces, and we have to cut all of the foundation papers. So I'm going to do a demonstration on cutting out the foundation papers, which is the very first thing in your pattern that is going to take you through. And it shows you a picture of each one of those. Right? So I'm going to set up my table. I'm going to grab a stapler and a few pins, and we're going to open up these sheets. I have 2 sheets that have an inventory number on here that say NP600. Then I have one sheet here that has an inventory number that says 403. It says TP403. And then we have another one, TP404. We're going to set the layout sheets aside. When you're doing the cutting on a piece like this, you don't have to cut every single piece out individually. What we're going to do is we're going to take a pin and we're going to find a spot, and we just slip that pin through, and we're going to pin each one of those in the same exact spot, and I'm just going to run that pin and lay it flat. Then I'm going to come over to this side, and I'm going to find another place that I can match and put a pin right there, and I'm going to match the one underneath. Now, I've done as many as 17 sheets together like this before. This pattern only requires us to match up 2 pages. We're going to do this on this end. I like to put a pin on all 4 sides. The reason for the 4 sides is it keeps all of the papers stacked together the way they were printed. You can't just match up the edge of the papers because sometimes they're not cut the same size, but the printing is always exactly the same size, right? You do not have to run them through an iron. You're best not to, because an iron's going to probably shrink it just a little bit, and you want it to be exactly the way it's printed as you start, right? After I get this pin, then I'm just going to take my stapler and I'm going to run around and I'm going to put a staple in each one of these pieces. And if I can't reach something, I'm going to show you a really easy way to get to this inside. Okay, so I can't reach the inside of these pieces, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my rotary cutter and I'm going to cut along the edges here. And then all I have to do is just lift up the paper and slide it into those pieces. And what I'm trying to do is get one staple in every single unit. I think we're there. Alright, so we're going to put the stapler away. And then I'm going to take my rotary cutter and I'm going to grab a ruler. And I like to use the Creative Grid rulers because they don't slip on my foundation paper. So it's really easy to lay them down, and they'll still slide, but they don't grab it to the point where I can't move it. And I go through and I like to cut 1/8 of an inch in between, and I do all the straight lines first. And we're going to remove all of the pins. We have a pin over here. pin here, and I have a pin here, because I don't want to hit the pins with my rotary cutter. So then I just go through and I cut my straight lines, and then we're going to cut these straight lines here, and then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to cut this straight line, and after I get the straight lines cut, then I come around, and I'm cutting everything about 1/8 of an inch, so you can kind of see that I'm not cutting it perfect, because if I try to cut it perfect, I may cut off my seam allowances, and I don't want to do that, right? Then I'm going to take that piece and I'm going to stack it, and then we're going to grab the next one, and we're going to stack that, and we're going to keep our pieces in order as we cut them out. That way we don't have to come back and resort everything. And then we're going to take this one, and this is an AC4, and then we're going to come over here and we're going to do an AC3. And now we're just going to pretend that it's all been cut out. We're going to put this away for now. And I'm going to move all of this excess paper. And at this point, I would grab all 8 of these pieces and I'd just put a paper clip on them. I'd grab all 8 of the next one. I'd put a paper clip on them. I'd grab all 8 of these, a paper clip. And this one. Alright? So, the next thing in your instructions that it talks about is you were supposed to set up bags. So I have a bag 1, it says AC1, a bag 2, AC2, a bag 3, AC3, and a bag 4, AC4. And on each one of those bags, you're going to put those pieces in, and it tells you in your instructions what bag those go into, all right? So I've shown you how to cut them out. So when I'm done, I have all 4 of my bags, and I'm ready to put the next part of the pattern into. So we're going to set the bags aside here, and we're going to move all of this stuff out of the way. There we go. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a template layout sheet, and it doesn't matter which one. And a template layout sheet is cut out a little bit different than your papers, and you can't cut them out by stacking. You actually have to cut them out singly, all right? And you're going to cut them right on the line, because these are the pieces that we actually fit onto the paper or the fabric when we get ready to cut it, everything. And at this point, when I'm looking at that, in my instructions, it's going to tell me what bag to put this in. And so I would actually pick up my bag and slip this into that bag at this time. All right? And we have to go through and cut all of these template layout sheets apart as well. And then we're going to put them all in the bag. And I've already done that, so I don't need to show you how to do a second group. So I'm going to set these aside. And here's all of my pieces. So these pieces right here go into bag number 1. And then we have our pieces for bag number 2. And then we have the pieces for bag number 3 and the pieces for bag number 4. All right, right there. So I'm going to stack these all in order. And I'm just leaving the layout sheets on top of my bags right now because I'm going to start using them in just a second. But if I was to cut this out 2 days before, I would have them all in those bags. Right? So now I'm going to lay these off to the side. We've gone through all of the cutting references. There's some more reference information here that I'm not going to go through, but if you have the pattern, you do need to read it. And then it actually has a little drawing here that shows you where all of the colors go, all right? And in our patterns, we don't tell you that you're using blue fabric, yellow fabric, pink fabric. We let you decide what color your fabric is. So all we're going to do is give you a reference number, right? So when I flip over to this, and I grab the wrong instructions. So when I flip this over and I open it up, I have a cutting chart here. This gives me my yardage. The other thing it gives me is how many the inches that I have to have for that fabric. So if I bought a fabric kit, then all I'm going to do is cut, instead of 1/4 of a yard, I'm only going to cut an 8.5 inch piece right there, all right? It gives me exactly the number of inches that I need, all right? The instructions here, the yardage chart, don't tell you how many pieces to cut. It just tells you what it is. So notice that I put my fabric. I have this blue fabric here. I have 2 different yellow fabrics. I have teal fabrics in those spots. So everything's organized there. The other thing I like to do is when I go through the cutting instruction, I like to put a swatch along each of the different, when the fabrics change, for cutting instructions. And the reason for that is because if I make a mistake, it's easy to go back and find where I left off, and I can make the repairs to that, all right? So right now we're going to start with fabric AC1, and it's going to be the very first piece on my stack. And it tells me here I have to cut one 8.5 inch by 42 inch strip, which I do have, all right? And then it's going to show me how to put the layout sheets on here. It tells me I have to use template layout sheet number 1. So I'm going to go over to my pile of layout sheets for bag number 1. And I'm going to find the layout sheet here, and it has the Unit AC1 template layout sheet number 1. And that's what I'm supposed to put onto here. And we've provided graphics as well that are going to show you how to lay that out, okay? So all of our strips are designed to use a 45-inch strip, okay? So we open everything up and we want to stack it right side up unless the instructions tell you to stack it wrong side up. And we do have some pieces in here that we're going to stack wrong side up. So we have to always pay attention to what it's telling you. Right? So I'm going to go iron this really quick and get the crease out of it. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to look at the way my pieces are set up. And it looks as if I have to cut several of these pieces. So I want to have my fabric right side up, which is this way. And I know it's hard to tell. All right, so the very first thing I'm going to do is look at my picture. And I'm going to find out from just looking at the picture, do I have very much excess fabric there? And the reality is no. So I'm going to scoot this over as far as I can next to the selvage. And the reason I'm not going to worry too much about it is because on a template layout sheet, you're always going to have some excess there. And that's there for the purpose of cutting and for paper piecing. So I'm just going to take a ruler. And I'm going to take and cut right along that line, just like that. And then I'm going to pick this up, and I'm going to flip my template over here like this. And I'm going to cut another one. Okay. And then I'm going to take the next piece. I'm going to line that up just like that. I'm going to take another one here. I'm going to take a ruler and lay that piece on there like this. All of our measurements for our fabric are set at 42 inches wide. And a lot of times you're going to have fabrics that are going to be run between 42 and 45 inches. Sometimes they'll be a little bit less. And if they're a little bit less, it may put you in a position where you have to buy another piece of yardage, or you'll have to skinny up your templates a little bit on the layout sheets, which there's always room to skinny something up if it seems like you're going to run short of fabric. So I have all 4 layers now stacked here, and now I'm going to come over here. I'm going to grab some paper clips. I always have 4 or 5 boxes of paper clips because we use them for everything. And notice that I'm putting the paper clip along the edge and I'm clipping the template piece to it. I don't have to worry a lot about accuracy because when I get done sewing, I'm actually only going to be using just a portion of these. Now we're going to take this and we're going to cut along this edge here. We're going to get rid of that fabric. And then my template layout sheet has what we call cut lines on them. And it has a cut line 1, a cut line 2, and a cut line 3. All right? And on this particular piece, it has 3 cut line 1s. So we're going to go cut line 1, and then we're going to go over here, and this one's going to be cut line 2. And we're going to go over here, cut line 3, and then we're going to give that correction to Bradley, and he's going to fix it. There's cut line 1. I'm going to move this out of the way. Cut line 2. And cut line 3. So now, in a template layout sheet, normally it's a group of templates. It doesn't mean that every single template is the same piece. So we're going to look at the templates and see what they say. So this template says a section 4 and a section 4, section 5 and 5. So we're going to put our 5s together. And then we're going to put the 4s together. And we're going to stack those right off to the side. All right. So the next piece that we're actually going to cut here is going to be from fabric AC2. So I'm going to grab my AC2 fabrics. I want to bring your attention to one thing with this pattern. So in our quilt pattern, it only requires 1 strip of fabric, but we decided we wanted to do 2 different colors for that piece. Instead of cutting 8 pieces out of 1 color, we're going to cut 4 pieces out of 2. So the way we reference that is we put an ACA and an ACB. Now in Quiltster, which is a color program, we're able to do that by simply unlocking a block. And since I'm not going to teach you how to do Quiltster today, I just want you to know that that's actually available for you. But training is available out there for you to understand how that's done. So in my instructions, it tells me that I need to cut 1 4-inch strip, and I have 2 because I have 2 colors, and I'm supposed to cut 8 pieces from 1 strip. So that means I'm going to only cut 4 pieces from each strip. And I'm going to stack my strip pieces at this time because it's going to make my cutting go a little bit faster. So I'm just going to open up those strips, and then I'm going to take the next piece, I'm going to set it on top. And I want to remember which one is my AC2, or my A color, and my B color. So I have the B on the bottom now. And then I'm going to grab the template, which is my AC1 template, which was the next one in my pile, because I organized them that way. And I'm going to look at the way it's set up, because sometimes if I get started wrong, where these pieces have to be positioned perfectly, then I'm going to end up with not enough fabric. So this piece needs to be set up like this, right? And then we're going to actually take this, and I'm going to just flip it around to get an idea kind of where the next one goes, like that. And I'm going to cut that. And now I'm going to take this, and I'm going to give myself a little bit of room there. And then I'm going to stack this, because this gives me 2 of each color. And then I'm going to take that one, and this one's going to give me 4 of each color. Okay? And now I'm going to take this piece, and if I measured it properly, I'll have enough room. And so now I can take these, I can slide this over like this, and I'm going to put this piece back on there, and then all I have to do is come in here, cut it like that, and put a paper clip on it. And then we have that piece cut out. So the next piece here, we're going to take these pieces, we're not going to throw these away, and I'm going to actually put my tags on here so I don't remember which one's A and which one's color B. And then when I get ready to sew, I can make sure that I have them stacked properly. So this is all of the cutting that is for bag number 1. So I'm going to find my pieces for bag number 1, and I now have these in order. I'm going to check the order. So this is section 3. We want to find section. So it looks like we have 5 sections. So I'm going to stack these, section 5, and then I'm going to find the sew side, and I'm going to align all the sew sides. So section 4, then we're going to find section 3, and there's a sew side. I'm going to align that, and then I'm going to take this one, the sew side. This is section 2. So I have all my sew sides aligned, and section 1 doesn't have a sew side. And then we just take, and I clip all of these in together with a big paper clip. And now I can just slip these in the bag, and they're all organized for me when I start doing my paper piecing. And I'm going to slide those aside. And now we're going to do fabric AC5. And I'm going to open up my strips. And this piece is has a few wrinkles in it, so I'm going to go press it. Okay, we have this pressed now, and we're going to grab the template pieces that are in bag AC2, and just like me, I have to read my instructions, and so do you. So this one tells me I have the 2 4.5 inch strips already cut, and then it tells me I have to have template layout sheet number 2. All right, so it wants me to position that like that. Now there's not a lot of room on this one, so I need to be a little more careful about cutting this. So what I'm going to do is get my first cut, and I'm going to line this up right here, cut that angle, and then I'm just going to put my hand down, and I'm going to cut this one like that. Okay, then we're going to move this over, And I'm going to just stack the fabric on it and position the layout sheet again. And then I'm going to grab a ruler and we're going to cut that. And then we're going to flip it again. And then we're going to flip this one. Now this template has several sections on it, so I'm going to grab a whole bunch of paper clips and I'm going to put one on each section. So after I cut this apart, everything is clipped together and I don't have to go back and try to resort everything because it's all going to stay exactly with the paper. So now we have that one all done. And now we're going to come over here and we're going to find cut line 1. And then cut line 2. Cut line 3. Cut line 4. Cut line 5. Line 7. Okay, when I look at these little templates, they all have the same number on them. So what that's telling me is I don't have to be specific as to which section they go to. So this was the only one that has a specific section, and that's section 15. So the rest of these, I can just stack them, but when I stack them, I want to keep all of my sew sides together. And section 1 is specific, so all of these are going to go like that. All right, so now we're going to grab the fabric for fabric AC6. And I'm going to put those in a bag. And so these go into bag number 2. Now, I'm not going to organize these in the sew order because there's so many of them, so we're going to actually do that when we get ready to do the paper piecing. For now, we're just going to close the bag, and it's like that. Now, something I am going to tell you that I like to do is if I have fabrics left over from some of the pieces, I usually like to put them right into the bag that I cut the pieces out, because now I know that's the right size, and if I make a mistake, I'm able to come back and find that fabric without looking for an hour. The next piece that I need to cut is right here, and that is fabric AC7. And again, we broke the color order on these in Quiltster, so instead of only cutting one strip, I have to have 2 strips. All right, we named one of them A and one of them B. So if you look at my fabrics, I have a AC7A and an AC7B. All right, If I only was using one color, I would only have to have one strip. But since I wanted to use two colors, I have to cut two different strips, which increases your yardage. So anytime you decide you want more color in your quilt, you're going to end up having to buy more fabric, which is fine, because that's like why we like to change colors, so that we like lots of color, so we have to have lots of fabric. So we're going to take these pieces and stack them together like this. And I want to put A on the top, so I'm going to move the yellow to the top. The reason I'm putting A on the top, because there's a really good chance when I start doing the paper piecing that A is going to be the first color that goes onto the foundation paper. And it puts everything in the order that you're going to sew them. Now this one says I need to use template AC1, so we're going to grab it, get the templates out of that bag. And this is AC1 right here. And then it tells me to actually flip this around like that. And I'm going to have lots of fabric, so I'm going to get rid of my salvage. And then I'm going to actually put my finger here and lay this on like that. And I'm just going to cut some big rectangles. So that's going to give me 2 pieces. And this is going to give me 4 pieces. Alright, and then we're just going to grab these colors. And I'm going to put the A color here and the B color here, and we're going to fold up the rest of the fabric, and then I'm going to take this, put my template layout sheet down and the ruler next to it, and we're just going to cut, and I'm going to stack those underneath. And don't worry if they're not exactly the same size. It's all going to work out for you. And then we're going to put a paper clip on that. And we're going to set this one aside. Now it tells me fabric AC8. And AC8 is one cut that's 7.5 inches. And then we have these layout sheets. Okay, so what we're looking at here is this is actually, these templates are set up for curved paper piecing. And sometimes we only give you one template, and other times we give you a whole sheet of templates. And on this particular piece, we decided that we were better off to give you the whole sheet, all right? We also need to pay attention because it tells me that the strip needs to be positioned wrong side up. And that means that the template goes on the wrong side of the fabric, all right? So we're going to take this piece, and we're going to pull the sticky note off, and we're going to position, and I'm going to press. Our fabric is wrong side up. We're going to take this template, and we're going to lay it on there just like that. And we're going to grab some paper clips. Then I'm going to put a paper clip here, 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 and here. And since this is on the wrong side of the fabric, I'm also going to grab some glue, fabric glue, and I'm going to just kind of flip this over and put a little bit of glue to kind of hold that on like that. Then we're going to grab this piece and this, so we're going to cut that. All right, we're not going to cut these apart yet because there's actually some sewing that needs to be done. We have what we call a TRP line. And this TRP line is used so that when we start doing the curved piecing, the foundation paper and the rest of the fabric pieces that you've sewn on it, there's going to be a line on there, and you're going to match these two lines so this is matched up to another piece. So what I'm going to do is leave this together, and then when we start doing our sewing, I'm going to come back and stitch on each one of those lines before I cut it apart, and that's going to give those, then we remove the paper after they're cut out, and now we don't have to go back there and mark and try to remember where all of those lines are. So we're going to set this one aside, and then it tells me I have to do that again here. I'm just going to go ahead and put the glue on right now. My glue stick is about shot. Right. Glue this one on, and then I'm going to put some paper clips onto it. And then I'm going to cut along this edge. Alright, and then we're going to take these pieces and leave them together, and then we're going to put them with this. We're going to fold this fabric up, and these are all going to be folded and put back into bag number 3. I'm also going to take the leftover fabrics and put them into bag number 3 as well. And now we're done with this one. So now we're going to bag number 4, and we're going to grab fabric AC9, and again we broke the block and we decided to use 2 colors instead of 1 color on this piece. And actually I'll take a second and show you on the quilt. So basically the reason why we broke it is it puts these 2 fabrics the same color and these 2 fabrics the same color. And they could have all been the same from 1 fabric, but we wanted to give it to a little bit of color there. So take this, and actually yellow is A. So no, yellow is B. I'm going to switch that around. I'm going to press out that seam in the middle. Get rid of the crease. And then I'm going to clean off this edge. Take our first template piece, and it goes on here like this. And then I'm just going to use the ruler, it's a little bit safer, and then I can move it over here like this, and then I'm going to cut my rectangle. If I know I'm going to have lots of fabric, I do this a lot. If I know that I'm going to be short on fabric on my strip because it's going to be a tight fit, then I'm a little bit more cautious about how I cut. Then we're going to take this one, cut a rectangle, and I'm going to put my A, and by my B piece, it must be on here already. It's hiding on me. I'll have to find the ruler. Alright. So then this piece goes on here like this. I'm going to grab this. these pieces up. And set those underneath it in case maybe. And the only side on this template that has to be cut accurately is that sew side, which is a curve. Alright, so when we do a curved seam, we just have to do what we call either free motion, or if you have some templates that have curves on them, sometimes you can use a curved template. But that's the only place where we have to do. The rest of it's going to be trimmed down later on. Okay, so we've cut out all of the pieces now for bag 4. And we're going to place these in to bag 4. Okay, so now when we look at it, we have all of the cutting set up here for each one of the bags, just like that. And the next part of our pattern is going to take us into paper piecing. All right, that's the next video. But one thing I want to mention about the cutting instructions that we set up, we basically are working from a full strip. And when we design these templates, we design the templates so that they all set on those strips with the grain lines, so that if you're doing the same block over and over again, your grain line is going to go like this, and then as it rotates around in a circle, the next one. So it keeps everything going the same. If you're working with striped fabrics, all your stripes are going to be laying in position on each one of those blocks the same exact way. We also do the template layout sheets so that you guys don't have to figure out how to set everything up and fit it together. One of the things we like to do as a company is to make your life a lot easier, so we try to minimize as much math as possible, so that all you have to do is just look at a picture, put the pieces on there, and start doing your cutting. Okay? So we're going to continue on with another video after a while. Thank you for all being here. Bye. On each one of your foundation paper, this is actually AC3 template AC3-2. There's a TRP line, and you guys will have to sew the TRP lines. The TRP lines are points in which we use to match up to another unit in the sewing process. So we're going to just come in here, we're going to go like this. We set the machine at about 2.8, and then we just stitch on this line like this. Okay, when you get to the end of the line, I just pick it up and I move over to the next TRP line. And then we pick it up and we just move it over to the next TRP line. And we're going to pick it up. Then we go to the next one. That's how you sew a TRP line. Earlier we went through all of the cutting instructions, and so now we're ready. We have everything in our bags, and now we're ready to start doing our stacking to prepare each one of the groupings for foundation paper piecing. So we're going to start with the papers for AC1. And in all of our instructions, we always, right before you get to paper piecing, there's a little set of instructions that tell you how to do your stacking. All right, so we're going to set our instructions aside, and we're going to take our bag. Remember yesterday we actually put everything in order when we were stacking. So here's our foundation papers. And sometimes when you're working with foundation papers, if you don't understand the process for stacking, the idea is that we want to start with the very last section that's sewn on, and that will be on the bottom of the pile. And the very first piece that we sew on is always going to be on the top of the pile. So when we explain it, we always tell you to reverse all of your pieces in the order that you're going to sew them onto the foundation paper. So we start with section 1 is the very first piece, and section 5 is the last. So we want to start with section 5. Each one of our units here have template pieces have what we call a sew side. And the purpose of the sew side is it actually gives you the angle in which that piece is going to be put onto the foundation paper. So if I actually laid this and folded back, it would actually have my foundation, this is how that piece would fit onto the paper. And we have these dashed lines, and the dashed lines are actually set up so you can see exactly where this piece is going to fit under your paper. So by giving you a sew side, now all you have to do is, when the paper's folded back, is match that up, and that's the first side of that piece that you're going to sew. So now we're going to take this sew side, and then we're going to take, this is section 5, we're going to find section 4, and we're going to find the sew side, and we're going to stack it right on top, like that. Then we're going to find section 3, which is right here, and we're going to take that sew side, we're going to line that sew side up. We find section 2, and this is the sew side right here, so we're going to line this up. And a little trick that sometimes helps, because sometimes you have to move the template, is if you'll take your paper clip and put the paper clip on the sew side, when you do have to pull the paper out, you won't forget which side is which edge, I should say, is the sew side. The very first foundation section piece doesn't have a sew side. And when you're doing your stacking, you want to just lay it on there just like that. Alright, it doesn't matter if you laid it any other direction. The biggest thing is you want it so that it's showing that the template is up. And then when you start doing your foundation paper piecing, it will tell you you have to flip that first piece over. After I get this all stacked, then I like to take a binder clip or a large paper clip if I have one, and I usually will just take and slide that onto the whole set like that. And then I put the papers right with it. And then I take that to my machine, and when I'm ready to start paper piecing, all I have to do is remove the clip and start sewing. We're going to put this one back into our bag now, and so now it's ready to sew. Now we're going to show you how to stack the pieces for bag 2. Or it's called AC2. And these papers are a little bit different because the template pieces are all the same size. So we only gave you one template for all of the middle pieces. Then we gave you a template for section 1 and section 15. All right. So what we want to do is we're going to figure out, these are my hatched pieces right here, and you can always match the hatching up. Don't worry about color, just make sure that hatching goes with hatching, And then this template right here, there is no hatching or shaded area, and that goes with the pieces that aren't, all right? So we're gonna take these pieces and I'm just gonna lay the paper just like this, and I'm gonna find section 15, which is gonna be from this piece right here, and I'm gonna set my sew side up just like that. And then the next piece is section 14. And since I don't have an actual piece that says section 14, I'm just going to look for the template number, and I'm going to place my sew side like that. Then I'm going to take another one of these pieces, which is template AC23, and that one's going to go like that. And then we're going to take the next one and put it like this. And we continue this, but one of the things that's going to happen here is we get so many pieces stacked that we can't keep them together. So then what I like to do is come in here and I just grab a little paper clip and put those. And so now I'm going to start right over here, and I have section 11. And then we're going to go to this piece, and we're just going to keep working these until I get a few more together. And then I'm going to paper clip these. And then I'm going to just stack those like that. And I have to start over with another one of these. And then we're going to put one of these on there. And then we have this one. Then we have this one. Then we have this one. And then we have this one. And then this is section 1, so this is the last piece, and like I said, it doesn't matter which way that goes at this point. And now I'm probably going to have to move these and put another paper clip on these to keep these units together. And then we're going to put a paper clip on these to keep these together. And now I'm going to take those little piles, put them with my paper, and those are going to go to my machine. Now we have bag AC3. And AC3 has a few different units in it. This is probably going to be very new to what any of you have done before. All right, so what we have is AC3 is a unit that we glue the first piece on, and then we work with a basting stitch line, and then we add a curved piece, and I call it paper piecing on a curved seam, right? Most people are confused with it the first time they do it, but after they've seen it done a few times, they're like, oh yeah, I know how to do that, because it is really simple. So on these pieces, we only have 2 that we have to stack, but this piece AC32-2 was actually a piece that was put together like this, right? And it has our TRP lines on it. So what I did earlier is I showed you guys how to do sew the TRP lines. We have a video that shows that. Now what I'm going to do is show you how to clean those off. So we have all these loose threads. So we're just going to take our scissors and we're going to cut all of the threads off like this. We can go ahead and remove the paper clips now. We don't need those on there anymore because the paper is actually sewn to the fabrics. And then we're going to flip it over and we're going to do the same thing. Get rid of all of the threads. Okay. Now we're going to take our ruler here along with our rotary cutter, and we're going to go ahead and cut these apart on cut line 1. And then we're going to do 2 and cut line 3. Okay. So now it's going to tell me to come back here to a cut line 4, which I have to take and cut this scrap section out because I need that curve in there. Now, most of the time I actually use I go through here with free motion cutting, And I just take the rotary cutter and cut right on that line. Oops. I do have some women that are afraid of that, and so if you're afraid to do free motion, just find any type of a template piece that has a little bit of a curve to it, and you can actually set it on there and use that as a guide, and then just keep rolling the template and around, and that'll give you something to hold that down and cut that out with, right? So now we're just going to stack this one. I'm going to go ahead remove all of my paper clips. Okay, so the stacking process for this really only requires 2 pieces, and then we're stacked, and then we're going to put the paper back with it. And I'm going to take this and put a big paper clip on it, and then we're going to slip this one back into its bag, so that when we're ready to sew, we just have to pull the pieces out. Now we're going to start with bag A4. And again, we have our foundation paper. This is another one that has a curved seam. So this is basically paper piecing with a curve, and we have 2 curves that you're going to work with on this one. And so our very first, the largest section, section 3, is on the bottom. And one of the things I want to show you about section 3 is it actually has a TRP line, but we've only given you one template to actually work with, right? And this is a paper piecing template, so you don't have to be really accurate with your cutting, but we have to have that TRP line marked. So what I do is when I have just one paper that I have to work with, there's a couple ways you can do it. If it's really light fabric, you can actually lay that fabric put it right onto the stack, go to your machine and stitch that without any thread, and then you can see the holes left in the light fabric, all right? And a lot of times you won't have to sew that line if it's just going to be something you're going to use right away. Now, if this isn't a line that you're going to use until later on in the quilt, by the time you press this, all of those marks are going to come out, all of this little holes. So better way to do it is actually to mark it. So to get that to mark, there's a couple ways you can do it. I like to actually just take that line and cut right along both sides of the line so that I have a little space there. Then I can take that piece and lay it right onto my template, my fabric there that I cut. I just want to get it centered. And then I just take a white chalk and I mark that, okay? And now I can see that. Now that mark's only going to show on one side, and sometimes we need that mark to show on both sides. And if you have to have it show on both sides, then the best way to do it is just to stitch that line after you get it marked, all right? For these pieces, I really don't need to do that. I've marked all of them, and I can put my paper clip back on it now, and it's ready for me to work with. The next step, the next one, were these pieces. And right now, I'm just gonna put it on there just like that. It tells me to set it up and stack it that way. And before I start sewing, I have to remove the paper. Even though it's sewn onto here, I have to remove that piece of paper. And then this is section 1. And now we're ready to just clip all of these back together. And we're gonna put these back in a bag until we're ready to do our paper piecing.